We are here to heading over to Jimmy Gomez's house, the representative of District 34 that covers downtown Los Angeles. We are going to be posting this eviction notice on his door because they failed. Basically, they failed to represent the people that elected them to represent us, right? Our interests and stuff. They're supporting corporations and they're big money donors, but they're not supporting the people that elected them to represent us. So, for example, they've been giving trillions of dollars to Wall Street, but at the same time, we have Great Depression level from the 1930s, 50 unemployment claims, and 28 million people are facing evictions when the moratorium on evictions expires at the end of this month. So this potentially could be the very last week that a lot of people are living in their homes because come August 1st, they're out. If they can't pay rent, and they can't because they're not called essential, so they can't be working, they have no income coming in, therefore they can't pay their rent. And so they're going to get evicted when the moratorium expires at the end of this month. So we're going to be posting this eviction notice on Jimmy's door because he failed he kind of failed his lease, right? He failed us, the people that put him in that office. So if he fails us, he is going to be evicted and not elected again to represent us.
Let me just quickly ask you a question. So you're with Movement for People's Party? Yeah. So you guys have recently endorsed the other candidate, David Kim, who's running against Jimmy Gomez in this race in CD34. What kind of a shot do you think he has to win? Because we saw a Green Party candidate run in the last cycle who did actually fairly well, had about 30% of the vote against Jimmy. And although Jimmy comes out and says he's a progressive, he does have a history of taking money from corporate donors. He's not as bad as some of the other guys, but he isn't, I wouldn't call him a true progressive. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, and David, who was here with us last a couple of weeks ago when we had this event here, David is honestly a true progressive, very grassroots, representing the people. So he wants to get in office in Congress so that he can do what he does locally, so he can do that nationally for this district. As far as his chances, I don't know. Gosh, I'm trying to remember what his actual. I know that he has a 60% approval as far as the people that they've contacted. Now, whether they contacted enough people to cover 60% across the whole district, I don't know. But out of the people that did contact, that they did contact, he has a 66% approval from those conversations.
Everybody in, nobody out.
That's what healthcare is all about.
Don't drop the ball.
Medicare for all.
Don't drop the ball.
Medicare for all.
Money for schools.
Not the police.
Money for...
Since we have media coverage, maybe the cops will be there. Or not, since they know that
People pay their rent.
Before Wall Street gets 1 cent.
Help the people pay their rent.
Before Wall Street gets 1 cent.
Help the people pay their rent.
Before Wall Street gets 1 cent.
Help the people pay their rent.
Before Wall Street gets 1 cent.
Help the people pay their rent.
Money for schools.
Not the police.
Money for housing.
Not the police.
Money for families.
Not the police.
Money for housing.
Not the police.
Money for schools.
Not the police.
Money for families.
Not the police.
Don't
basic income.
Tired of your crumbs.
We want a basic income.
Tired of your crumbs.
We want a basic income.
Tired of your crumbs.
We want a basic income.
Tired of your crumbs.
We want a basic income.
Saving jobs is our goal.
Cover the payroll.
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 Money for housing.
Not the police.
Money for schools.
Not the police.
Money for families.
Not the police.
Money for schools.
Not the police.
Money for housing.
Not the police.
Money for schools.
Not the police.
Money for families.
Not the police.
Money for schools.
Not the police.
Money for housing.
Not the police.
Money for families.
Not the police.
Money for schools.
Not the police.
Money for families.
Not the police.
Banks got bailed out.
Where's our bailout?
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 What kind of bailout?
People's bailout.
What kind of bailout?
People's bailout.
What kind of bailout?
People's bailout.
What kind of bailout?
People's
In a
bailout.
little bit, you can talk to me about that.
Corporate greed.
Once you guys are done with the
People's
curfew.
needs.
Not corporate greed.
People's 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 needs.
Not corporate greed.
Everybody in, nobody out.
That's what healthcare is all about.
Everybody in, nobody out.
That's what healthcare is all about.
Everybody in, nobody out.
That's what healthcare is all about.
Everybody in, nobody out.
That's what healthcare is all about.
Don't drop the ball.
Medicare for all.
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 Before Wall Street gets 1 cent.
Help the people pay their rent.
Before Wall Street gets 1 cent.
Help the people pay their rent.
Before Wall Street gets 1 cent.
Help the people pay their rent.
Before Wall Street gets 1 cent.
Help the people pay their rent.
Before Wall Street gets 1 cent.
Help the people pay their rent.
Before Wall Street gets 1 cent.
Help the people pay their rent.
Hi there. Assuming you can hear me, I'm still figuring this thing out. Okay. So, hi, I'm Tanya, and I would like to talk to you into the mic. Okay. Actually, all right, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So, I'm Tanya, and I would like to talk to you about our healthcare system. You know, that system that prioritizes profit over our health and care. So in 2019, we had 30.9 million uninsured in this country. That's 2019. That's before the massive job losses of this year. How many people are now struggling to pay their COBRA? How many people have lost their health insurance altogether? Great thing not to have any health insurance during a pandemic. How many people have died because they chose to ride out the bug at home instead of seeking medical care that they couldn't afford? Now, I was born and raised in Germany. Germany is a country that has cradle-to-grave health insurance like other industrialized nations. I mean, not this one. So I wanted to talk to you about the advantages of universal health care that aren't normally talked about. I mean, we all know about the problems of being uninsured or underinsured. But let's talk about the flaws of this system, the problems that this system has, even for people who are lucky enough to have health insurance. We have a system, a for-profit health care system, a system that is designed to squeeze every last dime out of every last one of us. A system that has created this labyrinthine maze of medical groups and health insurance companies and insurance agents, underwriters, call centers that keep you on hold for 3 hours at a time. I am lucky because I've had health insurance since 2011, and I am lucky because I got that health insurance about a month before I was diagnosed with cancer. I'm lucky because I managed to keep it together for all these hours I had to spend on the phone with the health insurance company to make sure that my referrals to a specialist were approved in a timely manner. And I'm lucky because I have a husband who could talk to the health insurance company in my stead when they neglected to deliver my chemo meds to the doctor's office and I was too weak to fight with them. And that, by the way, happened every single week for 3 months. I'm lucky because I was able to convince my health insurance company to let me switch oncologists when the first oncologist neglected to do vital tests affecting the course of my treatment because he didn't want to fight with the insurance company to get approval. And I am lucky because despite all of the hundreds, maybe thousands of hours spent on the phone, my health insurance company never denied me life-saving treatments, unlike a friend of mine who is going through the same thing right now and she's being denied all the time. So, all of my lucky bullet points here are a direct result of having a for-profit healthcare system.
Yeah.
A system that prioritizes profits over human lives. So this is not the type of luck we need right now. Certainly not the type of luck we need during a pandemic. What we need is Medicare for all. What we deserve is Medicare for all. And what we will have is Medicare for all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Woo!
Medicare for all.
Yeah.
Don't drop the ball!
Medicare for all.
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 Don't drop the ball!
Medicare
CARES Act that Congress passed back in March at the beginning of the quarantine included extended unemployment benefits of $600 a week, which was very helpful to help the working class like us that were laid off due to the lockdown. You know, food, shelter, those kinds of luxuries. It also helps the economy because the working class spends the money that they get. We do not hoard it like the billionaires do. Every dollar we get, we turn around and spend, therefore keeping the economy functioning. But this extension of unemployment is expiring at the end of this month, so many people will not have enough money to pay their rent. Many of us can't work if we're not quote unquote essential, so we have no income coming in. How do we pay for food or rent? Unemployment right now is at the Great Depression levels, the 1930 Great Depression levels. 42 million people have filed for unemployment. Can they get kicked out of their homes if they can't pay rent?
Before Wall Street gets 1 cent.
Help the people pay their rent.
Before Wall Street gets 1 cent.
Help the people pay their rent.
Before Wall Street gets 1 cent.
Help the people pay their rent.
Before Wall Street gets 1 cent.
Help the people pay their rent.
Banks got bailed out.
Where's our bailout?
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 Good afternoon, everybody. What's up, gentlemen? My parents were both NYPD, so I respect you guys. Although I think you guys probably all have better things to be doing today than this. What's up, everybody? My name is Jim, and I want you to know a couple of things about Jimmy Gomez, the congressman who lives over here in the back of this private building in his ivory condo, okay? There's a site called opensecrets.org where you can go to find out information about any of our elected officials, specifically who they are receiving money from. Okay? I just looked up Jimmy Gomez last night. This took me about 2 minutes. And these are just a few of the things that I found out. His top 20 campaign donors tell you a little bit about the man and tell us a little bit about everybody who's in Congress. You can go check anybody and see who has donated to them and find out who they are beholden to. Okay, his number one donor is a company called Poet LLC. They are a biofuel clean energy company. Well, that's not too bad, right? Okay, all right, good. Number 2, Capital Group Companies. Number 3, Royal Business Bank. Number 4, Emerson Collective. Number 5, American Crystal Sugar. Number 6, Blue Cross. Now, I'm not going to read the whole list to you, but the point of all this is, believe it or not, this list is not too bad. Jimmy Gomez, according to his campaign donors, is not really a bad guy, all right? There's a lot worse out there. Let me tell you, guys who are taking money from the military-industrial complex. Guys, Los Angeles congressmen right here in democratically controlled California who are taking money from the payday loan industry, from the prison industrial complex. Jimmy Gomez is not one of these guys, all right? So I'm here to tell you, perhaps crazily, that I have faith that Jimmy Gomez is going to do the right thing here. And here's what we need you to do, Jimmy. It's time to step up and be a hero. The people need a hero, Jimmy Gomez. And this may be your moment to shine, Jimmy Gomez. Will you step up and be a hero for the people? I want to talk specifically about evictions, and I want to talk specifically about universal basic income. We've had an eviction moratorium here in Los Angeles It has prevented evictions due to non-payment of rent because of the pandemic. But this moratorium is about to expire, like in a couple of days, at the same time that the extended unemployment benefits are about to expire. All of this stuff is expiring at the same time. What's Congress doing about it? Nothing! Nothing! They're leaving us flapping in the frickin' wind. All right? So, we've got about, I don't know, let's see, maybe about 15 people here right now. It's estimated that about 1 out of every 10 people are going to be unemployed and unable to pay their rent. That means they are going to be evicted. That means you and you are going to be homeless in 30 days. All right? Maybe even you can. Now, you guys are in good shape. Okay. You guys are good. But you and you are going to be homeless. All right? That's not good. Now, it is within the power of Congress to change this. Jimmy Gomez, you can spearhead this. You can do something about this, okay? There is something called UBI. It is a universal basic income. It is a concept that has been floated this past year, and it's a pretty good idea. A universal basic income of $2,000 a month, especially during a pandemic, would be very helpful for many, many people to get through this crisis. We're bailing out Wall Street. We're bailing out the oil companies. God knows they don't need it. We have literally spent trillions of dollars bailing out corporations that do not need bailouts. What have we spent on the people? Nothing! Nothing! So Jimmy Gomez, all right, Jimmy? It's time to be the hero, Jimmy Gomez. Find a reason to drive this. Extend unemployment benefits. Roll out UBI, Universal Basic Income, for all Americans. Help people get through this crisis. Step up and be the representative that we know you can be. Thank you. Woo!
What kinds of bailout?
People's bailout.
What kinds of bailout? What kinds of bailout? People's needs. People's needs. People's needs. People's needs. People's needs. Money for school.
All right, hang on. So zoom in on wherever he's going with that. Do you want to say something too, or no? Is it on front of Jimmy's house? Is it the notice?
Okay. We have posted an eviction notice on Jimmy Gomez's house because he has failed to represent the people that elected him to Congress. So we don't feel like he should be continuing in this job of representing the people because he's not representing the people. He's representing the corporate interests that fund his campaigns, not the people that put him in office. So we just posted this eviction notice on his door to show him that if he doesn't represent us, we will vote him out. I am so not.
You literally just described the entire Congress, by the way. You good? All right, let's get some video walking around. Thank you, by the way.
Fellow protesters, my name is John. I'm a veteran. I served in the Army between September 2001 and August of 2009. 2 deployments, one to Afghanistan and one to Iraq. It is a problem of priority in this country where we are bailing out corporations instead of the people. Tell me, what is the point of bailing out the cruise line industry at $50 million? They aren't even registered to pay taxes in the country. They're registered in Panama. So they can skirt away from paying taxes and exploit indigenous people. They don't pay taxes here, yet our country bailed them out over people. Something that gives me hope is that Jimmy Gomez actually voted for the amendment to cut 10%, which is not that much, out of the military budget. 10% from the budget and put it towards people. He voted for that. That's a good thing. A bad thing is 109 Democrats voted alongside Republicans to defeat that. 109 Democrats also want to extend our war in Afghanistan another 10 years. We've been there for 20. What is the point of that? What is the point of sending our loved ones to die in foreign countries for nothing? For minerals, for oil, for corporations' wealth. That does not serve the country. It is not patriotic to do that. To kill poor brown and black people in other countries when we have enough problems here in our own society to deal with. You ask the entire world, who is the greatest threat to world peace? They will unanimously say, us, the United States of America, while we say Iran. That is insanity. We are the greatest threat to world peace, and we don't take care of our own people. That is incredibly disgusting. I am appalled by that. In Iraq in 2008, I was able to disperse crowds of Iraqi civilians. It is their mandate that they are allowed to have an AK-47 with a full 7.62 millimeter clip for every single house. And yet, we were able to de-escalate without murdering those people. Better than the LAPD. You guys are murdering people on the streets for nothing. I had a rule of engagement, 9 steps before lethal action. You guys go to a half step. The hell is that? You are not properly trained to deal with de-escalation. You're not properly trained to deal with the homeless. You're not properly trained to deal with people with mental problems. Aren't you tired of taking on jobs that you shouldn't be doing? Shouldn't some of the funding go to social services and programs to help people instead of criminalizing everyone? Not everyone is your enemy. I consider you to be a friend, just confused. You are defending the wrong people. You should be standing here with us, defending us against corporate greed. Thank you.
So John just gave this incredibly impassioned speech to the LAPD about how they're not properly trained to de-escalate situations. You are a veteran of what, 2 wars, Iraq and Afghanistan. So I wanted to ask you about the Wall of Vets. They've been called to defend the protesters in Portland against DHS and the feds up there. And I know that there's going to be an action tonight, and I believe the Wall of Vets is also going to be at the City of LA City Hall protest. Can you tell us a little bit about Wall of Vets, what their initiatives are, and what you guys plan to do?
So, as far as I know, Wall of Vets, they're primarily there to support Black Lives Matter. They don't have their own, we don't have our own kind of message to give except protect people who are just exercising their constitutionally protected First Amendment rights. That means a lot to me. I believe my first marriage was to the Constitution as part of my oath of enlistment, to protect the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And there are great domestic threats to our Constitution that we should be standing up for. Wall of Vets is following the same protocol that Wall of Moms are in Portland. We are not there to provide the message. We are there to protect peaceful protesters from violent police officers who escalate and escalate and escalate. I hope that tonight at Los Angeles City Hall, at 4:30 p.m., that we can get as many people there as possible to show the LAPD that we will not back down from our First Amendment rights to free speech, free assembly, and to protest grievances with our political system.
John, let me ask you this. As far as I know, they haven't sent DHS federal agents here to Los Angeles. They've been deployed to Portland, Albuquerque, Chicago, and Kansas. I'm not sure that that's true. That's what they're saying publicly, but I'm not sure that they haven't actually deployed agents here. Do you think that they're here and that they might be present tonight?
I think they're everywhere, honestly. I mean, it's not out of the realm of understanding, considering the 92 riots where federal officers were called in by William Barr, I believe, to actually quash protesters. So we have a history of federal agents and National Guardsmen coming into Los Angeles and stomping on people's constitutionally protected rights simply because it makes them uncomfortable to deal with the systemic problems of our society.
I'm going to actually take... Wait, are you good? I'm actually going to take that one step further. The Department of Homeland Security came about because of the Patriot Act, and I don't know that a lot of people realize this. ICE is part of the Department of Homeland Security. So ICE, DHS, these were both created by the Patriot Act, which was a massive infringement on both your Fourth Amendment and First Amendment rights. So I agree with you. Personally, I don't think the Department of Homeland Security should exist whatsoever. They are not protecting our constitutional rights. They aren't even really protecting any or providing us more security in any way, shape, or form. If you look at the current setup of the DHS, there's a lot of ex-John Tanton folks that are there, right? So John Tanton was a white nationalist. He's a white separatist. He has several organizations, one of which is called FAIR. And what they're arguing about isn't slowing down immigration, isn't even eliminating immigration. It's actually deporting people. They want a white nation. People need to know that. So all of this is sort of intertwined. Do you have thoughts on any of that?
Plenty. Plenty. Wow, the Patriot Act. Boy, the absolute destruction of the Fourth Amendment, just because people were so scared after 9/11 that they were willing to sacrifice their freedoms for security. But how secure do people feel right now? Economically and racially, we are not secure. We absolutely need to abolish state security, another word for homeland, that is a Gestapo. We survived long before DHS. We should get rid of DHS. There's no point of having a redundant federal police inside of our country when we already have multiple different federal organizations that are in charge of operating within the domestic policy, including the FBI, Marshal Services, CPB. ICE should be eliminated immediately since that is a Gestapo force. And most people don't see this because they lionize Obama. But his 2012 NDAA signature basically gave Trump the ability to swipe people off of the street, hold them indefinitely without any cause, without any charges filed. That is an Obama-signed NDAA. Stop lionizing Democrats that are not on your side. Anybody who kept on voting for the Patriot Act, which they reauthorized, I believe, this last year, it had a sunset clause. They didn't have to vote on it. It would have died. But they voted to continue it. That's Nancy Pelosi's Democratic Party for you. Let's just keep spying on people and have them have ice cream once in a while.
Listen, John is correct on that, and I think more people need to realize that. What's happening right now in Portland with the DHS can only be happening because Obama did authorize this. This is part of his legislation. It was not part of George W. Bush's. So, again, in many ways, you're right. The Democratic Party has only enabled the fascism that we're seeing from Trump. They're saying they want to get rid of Trump, right? Because they're against fascism. Yet they continue to enable all of these policies. I think another prime example would be that currently they're complaining about the judicial being the one thing that we should vote for Biden on, right? But I think people need to realize that over 200 lower court appointees that Trump has appointed have been rubber stamped by the Democratic Party. And those 200 lower court judges are going to have a hell of a lot of impact on our judicial system for years to come. Biden and the rest of the Democrats all voted yes on Scalia is another example. So what do you think it's a compelling argument to vote for Democrats because of court appointees, or do you think it's all hogwash?
Obviously, for the last SCOTUS decisions, we've had a mixed bag of good things and bad things. The one thing that we can always adhere, the SCOTUS will always adhere to is business. Business first. Lionizing Ruth Bader Ginsburg does no favors. She agreed that we should have a pipeline under the Appalachian Mountains. Really, that's not left-leaning. That's not good for the environment. That's corporate. So, do I think it is a good cudgel to say vote for Biden or the SCOTUS? No, because Joe Biden is a Republican and will vote and will bring in justices that are pro-corporate, not pro-people. I don't think, it's not a target anymore.
It's not a target anymore, and I don't disagree with you. And I think what we've often seen is sometimes the conservative appointees end up siding with the more liberal justices, etc. And I think the reason is this. Most of those folks, when they get into that position, realize the pressure or the immense importance of the job, and they want to have some sort of a level of veracity and commitment to constitutional rights and what that job entails. So they're not always going to be politically charged decisions, right? Even though people want them to be that way on both sides of the aisle. I think the two worst judges, without argument, though, are Scalia and Thomas Clarence. And Biden had a hand in getting both of those guys into office. I think the way he treated Anita Hill was also enormously egregious. So any parting words, John, on this evening's event?
Say again?
Any parting words in regards to this evening's event? Any parting words on this evening's event?
Parting words for tonight's events. Wear a mask. There's no way to social distance, but wear a mask and prepare yourselves. I've been to 4 different protests that have turned violence and escalated by the police, where I've fired less lethal rounds, but they're really steel rounds covered in rubber, aiming for people's heads, aiming for people's vital organs. If you're coming tonight, make sure you're having a helmet. If you're going to be on the front line, wear a helmet. Bring gas masks, respirators. Protect yourselves at all times, but most importantly, protect each other, because they love to divide us. They love to snatch people and then corral around them. If we protect each other, they won't grab a single one of us.